The hairs on the back of my neck are standing up now. That was incredible. I demand nothing less for this entire panel. Boy, oh boy, we've got a treat for you today. Anyone ever heard of a little show called The Last Airbender? Me too. So let's bring out some of the incredible voice actors from the show. Give it up for Dante Basco, Sena, Greg Baldwin, and Michaela Jill Murphy. Folks, I think they like you. Hi.
I hope so, otherwise this is going to be a little awkward.
Beautiful. Okay, anyone in Toronto for the first time?
I don't think so. First time? No. My third time, which isn't too... It's your first time
Yeah,
here?
my first time in Toronto.
It's your first time in
Absolutely.
Toronto?
I learned that It's great to be here. I watched a YouTube special about things not to do when you're in Toronto. And they said, don't call it Toronto. So Toronto. It's great to be here in Toronto.
There's half a vowel in there somewhere. It's Toronto.
That's right, you gotta blast through it. So when you think of Toronto, I mean, maybe it's your first time, so you're off the hook, but for the others, what do you like about Toronto? Look, I said it the wrong way and I'm from here. I'm trying to enunciate.
Great food city. Been eating very well every time I've come here. And then I used to, as a kid, my family, we used to road trip up for Blue Jays games. We're a Yankees family, and so like when the Yankees were in town, we would like come up and we'd say,
Did someone just boo the Yankees?
it's fair. We're coming for you. It's only like, what, 4.5 games? We're coming for you.
Wow, fair enough. Shots fired. Anyone else besides the food, something special about Toronto?
Well, I shot a movie here a bunch of years ago called Take the Lead. Woo! Yeah, and so we were pretending to be New York, but we were in Toronto. And no, I had such a great time. I was here for like 4 months with the whole cast, and it was for people that don't know, it was like a dance movie. Thank you. With Antonio Banderas, and I was a dancer before I was an actor, so I was like big on the dance scene and the club scene, so I clubbed a lot. I told the whole cast, like, we have to battle everybody in Toronto. They said, what? I'm like, we gotta go out every night, and we have to battle everybody in Toronto. And the cast was like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
And if you lose any of those battles, they get your role.
Yeah.
They have to act in the movie.
well,
They got you reshoots.
my concept, because I'm a b-boy, I'm like a battle dancer as I grew up. I said, when we do the dance scenes, all the dancers are gonna be from Toronto. And they'll think we're just like these Hollywood kids that are out here. But we gotta let them know, like, we ain't punks. So we literally went to every club for several weeks and battled everybody.
So can we get...
How did you guys do?
We did pretty good. There was like win-lose, you know what I'm saying? B-boying, crumping, like we were just out in the streets.
We need a demonstration, Dante.
No.
It's always funny when they do that, right? Like San Francisco, yada yada, and then you're like, which
trilogy stakes.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we're gonna go straight back to the beginning, folks. So, obviously this show has achieved some degree of success. Some of these people have heard of it before. Early on, because also recording that first season is quite a bit before production-wise, before it's released. Yeah. At what point did you start to realize in all of your trajectories with the show, Greg, I know you were a little later on, but when did you realize, hang on a minute, this is becoming like a cultural force?
Ooh. Okay, I mean, so there were many phases of it. I would say the feeling of like this is becoming a cultural force, that sort of never happened, certainly not during production. I would say like we made the pilot and I was like, oh, this is a very cool, interesting show. I saw the pilot and was like, oh, this is awesome. We started reading the scripts and then like, I think it had to be like pretty far into season 1 before I kind of fully grasped how serialized it was gonna be, how involved some of these arcs were gonna be, the character journeys we were gonna go on. That's when it started to be like, this is a special show. But even when you realize you're making a special show, you don't know, is it gonna connect? Is it gonna find its audience? Is that audience gonna stay with it? So the feeling of like, this is actually like a cultural force is like, I don't know, years later is when you could kind of poke your head out.
Way later.
Yeah, way later.
Like maybe even like 3 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
2 years ago, last year, I don't know. I feel like I keep being like, is
There
this
was
a joke?
When we were standing back there and he was like, give it a 10. And we were like, oh, wow, it's something.
No, I know, like when we first started, I did get chills the first time I saw the intro.
Yeah.
I remember we were at a table reading, and I don't know, did May come in earlier and did it without us?
Yes.
And they did
Well,
the
it
whole...
would have been from the pilot, probably.
Yeah, maybe for the pilot. They played it for us, and I was like, whoa, I was getting the chills. But then you don't think, I mean, it's a cartoon, you guys. Like, I was like, this is a cartoon that we do for Nickelodeon. And I didn't think much of it. Matter of fact, I was here shooting the movie, take the lead, and I kept leaving the set, and one of my cast members was like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm doing this cartoon for Nickelodeon, and then like, he's like, what? And he's like, I'm like, I don't know, it's like this, it's like it's an Airbender show. Like, what? This guy's like 25. I'm like, you're an Avatar? I'm like, so who are you? I'm like, I'm Zuko. He's like, you're the Fire Prince? He's like, that's my show. I'm like, dude, you're 25. And so that's when I started going, this is weird.
Yeah. I was in college at the time, and I was getting the same thing of like, once people my age were telling me secretly on the side that they were watching it, it was like, oh, something different's going on.
Yeah, I got a DM one time. This is when I realized, wow, there's something else going on here. It was, Mr. Baldwin, I'm so sorry to bother you. In this Iroh specific, but my dad just died, and I was wondering if you'd give me some Iroh wisdom. And I'm going, this is above my pay grade. You know, I don't know. But that was the first time, oh my gosh, this show has resonated and is impacting people long beyond the actual run of the show.
And she was like, yo, she's such a big fan of Avatar. I was like, what? And then we ended up having dinner with like her and her boyfriend at the time, and she was explaining how big of an Avatar fan she was. And she was like, check this out, I painted this picture. I said, what? She said, her and her boyfriend, yeah, we painted this thing. And they showed me, it was like this big painting of her and her boyfriend, and he was like an airbender, and she was Fire Nation. And I was like, wow, you're that kind of fan? I'm like, I have a Gryffindor scarf. But we became really good friends, and I just love that. You know, she's a firebender, so.
Corbin Blue and his wife Sasha are also big Avatar fans, and I was like behind them in line in a green room in Kansas. It's so crazy. Anyway, and so I was like, hey, trying to be chill. I was like, just want to let you know, as we're like getting our tacos. I'm like a big fan of like high school. I grew up, I love your singer, dancing. And they're like, we love Avatar, and I was like, really? And I was like, yay! I'm such a big fan of you. It was great.
I love that secret society surprise where like you have the Avatar handshake or something. Were you gonna add something?
Oh no, I'm a huge fan of Breaking Bad, and I met Walt Jr. And Walt Jr., that was another situation where he was like, oh my God, your Uncle Iroh, I love that show. It's like Breaking Bad is my favorite show, Avatar's my favorite show.
That's the crossover we need and deserve.
Yeah, without a doubt.
How do we make that happen?
Sokka starts a cactus juice business. He's cutting the purest cactus juice, distributing it.
That was a good deep cut. So with folks like that, like with Serena, I know one of the things with animated work a lot of the time is you are doing recordings at separate times, maybe even remotely. Did you get to work together much, and did you get to work with any of the guest stars?
Yeah, the show was mostly recorded in like little pods, depending on like who had more stuff with each other for a given episode. With the big exception of Zach, who was the voice of Aang, was based out of New York, so we literally never recorded with him once the entirety of the show. I met him at the rap party.
His voice was in the air many times.
Sometimes they would play back.
Like, hi, you guys. We're like, how's New York? Zach, everything's good. Okay.
Yeah. He's got Little League after this. He's got.
Hope you win. Get a hit.
Yeah. But so like in that case, the chemistry, any chemistry there, any like vibe we had with each other was pretty much created by Andrea Romano, who was our unbelievable voice director. She sort of pulls together the performances to create that chemistry. But in other cases,
we all work together.
Yeah, we work together a lot.
We saw. I mean,
Yeah, I saw you guys pretty.
you were very young.
So were you.
I was younger.
Yeah, you were 11 when you were cast, right?
Super young.
As Meng, I was 11, and then Toph was 12 and 13.
That's right.
Right.
We're locked in. Everything's very timelined. Like season 2 was 12, season 3 was 13. I remember.
What were you all doing when you were?
She was young, and her name was Jessie. She was Jessie Flowers on the call sheet, like Jessie Flowers playing Toph. But then she was like, "That's my stage name. I wear the booth." And I was like, "Well, what's your real name?" And she said, "Michaela Murphy." And I was like, "What?"
People kept saying it wrong and spelling it wrong.
I know, but I'm like literally in the booth, like, "You guys, her real name is Michaela Murphy." That
Well,
is the
we're
most
back now.
beautiful name I've heard in a long time.
Well, I appreciate it. My mother does too. But people kept calling me Mashallah.
I know, I get it.
And just like, I got straight up Michaels all the time because people just wouldn't get the
I
A. And
get it.
Mishael and Mikael. And I was like, can we just not? And so I was like, Jesse. We're just gonna be Jesse. It was 2002
That's
or
true.
whatever. And I was like, let's make a cool name. But I do like my name. We're back now.
We're back. Which is
back.
great.
We're back.
Was that complicated? Did you have to go like retroactively recredit everything, or you just kind of let it go?
No, I've just dug myself a hole.
Alias.
I just live here now. No, I've made a rule that I sign as whatever my name is in the credits. Because when you're watching the credits and watching a show, you know, you want to have the name that's in the credits. And, you know, it was kind of a different era. Like that, I was Jessie Flower. Like that 10-year, 12-year span of me as like a kid actor. It was Jessie Flower. That was me. I was signing my eye with a little flower. So when you see that little scribble above the eye, that's like a little flower. That's what it is. I had a whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, I've made the choice now that people ask all the time, and I've accepted it. It's just my fate. And now I can't have any more names, but I also want to do music, and I'm like, maybe I should change my name.
Maybe it's how you signal each stage of your career.
Yeah.
There's
I like the identities. It's fun. You know, like when you go out sometimes, and you're like, tonight I'm Victoria.
I don't know how that
You
they
have an
do
accent,
that.
and you just talk like this all the time, and you're Victoria, and that's just how it works. And you're just like, oh, hello. So like, you know, can you get me a drink, please, of Hims? Thank you. And you know, it's
And
just
in
fun.
that bar in the corner, Dante's battling
Yes.
someone.
Yes, battling
Somebody.
somebody. It gets weird. I gave my cousin my ID in the bar, and they said, hey, you're not Dante Basco. I was like, sorry, cousin, I thought I'd get you in. But I know that bouncer, so it's fine.
So the co-creators of the show, we're going to come back to the name, and specifically the flower on the eye. I'm curious about that. The co-creators of the show said one of their inspirations was Princess Mononoke, the fantastic, yes, insert applause here, fantastic Ghibli film. Did you watch any other shows or films to help you get prepared for sort of the world? Did the directors recommend you watch anything to get the tone?
I think the trickiest thing about being, well, not the trickiest, but one of the things that can be interesting is like you can't really, I don't know, force yourself to be like what someone's looking for. And I feel like when you arrive in the audition room or in the callback room or booking the job, like you can kind of feel the energy of the script or maybe like the character, but you can't like curate too much. Like you can kind of absorb and maybe take classes, maybe you do like an acting workshop, maybe you get a degree in writing and acting, whatever. But once you're doing it, all of that fades away and you're just kind of existing in like reality. So I feel like we weren't over processing too much
At all.
information. Yeah,
The other
no.
thing is like, yeah, now this is an important show. Like we look back now 20 years later, like, yeah, this was such an important show. But when we were doing it, it was, Trevor, believe me, this was like, we were just gigging. We were working and it was cool. And it's, I get to do the podcast with Janet Barring, Brave New Elements, where we got to, that we got to go back and look at. A very unique experience for an actor to go back and look at stuff. And it's cool because it's like, has that feeling of like, I was telling Jenna, like, you're looking back and like, look how cool we were in high school. But the thing is, when you're in high school, you're not supposed to know how cool you are. Because if you know you're cool.
I was not cool in
but
high
when
school,
you're cool,
but
you
I
know,
see what you mean.
You know you're cool in high school, you're probably a jerk and it's not cool. But when you look back, you go, that was such a significant time in life, but you didn't know that back then. That's how the show was. It was like, it's great to look back and, wow, you were part of a masterpiece that we didn't know we were making.
It's just
Yeah.
authentic.
And if you think too much about it while you're making it.
Yeah, the people that were making a masterpiece, then you got, that wasn't a masterpiece.
Yeah, you know, I don't like to bandy the word art about too much, but actually sometimes happily art does get made, and this show was art without a doubt, you know.
Absolutely, I love that. I've heard some of you talk before about how fun it is to do sort of the exertions you have to do, the non-lines of dialogue for voiceover work. So yeah, how do you capture that? How do you make it sound diverse so it's not the same like oof 3,000 times?
That's a good
Well,
question.
Most frequently we were able to do it to picture. Usually we would do that at the end. So we come in, we record all the episodes, they go, they animate them, and then we come back and do ADR for all of the action sequences and the exertions. So a lot of the variation comes from, you know, the variation in the animation, getting to see that they've done something very specific here. And then for me, it was incredibly freeing because I felt like I wasn't I never had to do them seriously. I never had to it was very rarely, there were moments, but very rarely was it like, okay, here's Sokka like full focus, heart of battle, we just gotta really feel the warrior thing. It's like moments, but most of it was like, and then you fall down, and you can just go, so that was pretty.
Well, yes. But first of all, when you're recording, there's sitters and there's standers. I'm a stander. Stander? So
I was a sitter at that age. I've become a stander because I need to keep my I had so much energy at 15 that I had to sit to contain it, and now it's like I need to stand to get your channel.
Yeah. So we're standers when you're doing all this stuff, but we're also like kung fu masters for moments.
Yes.
Vocally. Although we did study, like they brought Sifu Kisu in early in the game, and we learned like the styles of what the elements were doing. I actually studied a little bit with Sifu Kisu. He liked to teach. He taught a class. We're like, I'll take it. And so I don't know. You kind of get that kind of what you're doing in your mind, and then one of the great things about acting is, especially voice acting, and sometimes you forget this when you're doing on-screen acting, is play and the improv. After you do an acting class, you're just kind of in the moment. That's what you are. You're a firebender. You can do all this stuff, and you're gonna do it right now. So just do it, and you have to like go there in your mind, like, yes, I actually can do all this kung fu, and I'm gonna show you with my mouth. I'm a master. It's pretty fun. I mean, they have videos of us doing some of the stuff in the room. I've knocked over the mic. They're like, Dante's really getting
I'd
into
stay
it.
pretty grounded, I don't know.
What's that?
Thank you.
Let's segue that into sort of improv and method acting. So you're saying like when you're doing some of the moves, sometimes you do them a bit in the booth. I just spoke to a voice actor who, I don't know if anyone was at this panel, accidentally knocked himself out. Trying to do, they were like, okay, you're getting strangled by this monster. And he was like, yeah, we're doing it. And passed out in the booth.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, tell me, so you've almost broken a microphone. Any like disasters in the booth?
I've had to like hyperventilate on mic, and turns out there's no way to do that other than hyperventilate. And then need a while.
I don't know. Am I just like uncomfortable in the space? I don't know. I'm trying to think of. Well, no.
I like out of deference to you to be diplomatic. Maybe I've done that. And she's like, I've never done that.
No, I don't know. I feel like I don't know about any of y'all, but I definitely have plenty of anxiety. And especially when it comes to like first auditions and first impressions, I'm like, but if I have the job and I know that I'm what they want, I usually come in, and there were lots of takes that we did of Toph where we used the first take. And so I come in like ready. Like if I know I'm good, I'm like locked and I'm ready to do it. So like I don't know. I think I read a little bit of script ahead of time, and then I just like, the weird thing about also voice acting, you can't move your head around too much, right? Because if you're like doing this with your face, then obviously you're gonna mess up the sound. So I got really used to like parking my neck in my head, and then I'd just be like, yeah, and like not move anything else. So I guess that helped. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't had any like crazy.
I don't know. I talk too fast. If Mabel Whitman was here, she'd make fun of me.
Slow down.
Because I've worked with Maze for so long, and she's such a pro at voice acting. She did voice acting since she was like nothing, right?
5.
And we did, before Avatar, we were at the same time we were doing Jake Long, the American Dragon. Yeah! And I was beginning to voice act, and I don't know, I get excited, so I talk too fast, and I always gotta go back. They're like, stop, Dante, we can't understand you. I'm like, my bad. So can we slow down? Can you do that again slower? I think that's my direction
I
every
think that's
time.
why I still keep voicing kids, because I feel you. The slow down was like the top note all the time.
Slow down.
And even still, I'm just like, okay, but if I talk really fast, then I can be like a 5-year-old, yeah? And it's just like, okay, that's too much. Like, how am I supposed to calm down after that? I don't know.
You know, it's interesting you're talking about. I find, because I was 46 when I was cast as Iroh, and Mako, I believe he was like 72 or 73 when he passed away. And I do find, you know, in terms of, you can still voice of a little kid. When I was a young man, I was affecting the voice of an old man, and I do find that as I'm 65 now, or I will be in about a month, as I actually now am an old man, my voice is now much more authentically old.
You've got a lot of practice, though, from when you were 15
64 years of practice and counting.
So speaking of ages, Dante, the role of Zuko was originally written as an adult character and then changed to a teenager because producers thought that a younger sort of villain-type character would be scarier, which a lot of the time can be true. You play...
Villain?
Well, of course, I mean, listen, there's a nuance, we'll get there. A complicated, yes, character. You played this kind of character before, famously for some of us, including me, I think is Rufio in Hug. Rufio, can we start the chant? Justice for Rufio? Anyway, what is the key to making a likable sort of villain-type character or more complicated character that the audience still relates to?
I don't know what the key is. I think, what's interesting is like, I've been a teenager for many decades. I've been a teenager for a long time.
It's tough.
I'm still a teenager in some people's minds. I'm not. I just think, I don't know the key. I don't know what the deal is. I've kind of like been cast as like a bad boy turned good so many times. But I think maybe that's part of my life. I don't know. I'm a good guy.
Have you turned good by now?
I am good. I've done some things, but I'm good. So I think ultimately it's just like, the special thing about Zuko is I didn't know he was going to be good. I actually really, when I was signed on to do the project, I thought he was going to be the villain. I thought it was cool. I didn't know it was cool. I thought his hair was weird. And I didn't know what the scar was about. I was just like, I actually was like, oh, it's going to be cool. Like, I'll be the hero on Disney and I'll be the villain on Nickelodeon. And then once I found out how he got that scar, then I was like, oh, this is interesting. Whoa, who's this guy? And so it's just one of those things where Zuko's probably the best just example of understanding like what is behind who you think the villains are. And to me, it's been such a big lesson in life. The people that we may think are the villains in our life can be our biggest, friends or helpers.
Did they tip you early about the scar? Did they tell you what that was, or did you?
No, I don't think they didn't tell me anything. I don't remember anything about doing the show. It's just such a fun. I remember doing the show and I thought it was all cool, but they didn't. There wasn't like a secret meeting, like, hey,
Just so you know, this
just
is
so
what
you
we're gonna
know.
get to. But they were like,
no, because
they
everyone
didn't tell
we
you
were
that
reading the
you were-
scripts.
Yeah.
Especially May were like, did you read the script last week? I'm like, yeah, like what? I'm like, I know.
Yeah, and we would get them like the night before the record, so you're like frantically prepping.
Reading
and,
it.
Yeah.
And this was back in the day, you guys, where like there wasn't really email. They would FedEx you a script early in the week, and then you make your notes on it. You go over it, and you come to the reading, and we like, did you read that script? It's crazy. And then we just throw that script away on the way out the door.
All of us.
We didn't, like I said, we didn't know this was going to be an important show.
You could get that on eBay for a couple grand now.
We would have had the whole. Zach has all the scripts.
Busted out some original scripts.
My script.
one for sure. I've got a few.
Really? My script, when we walked out of the booth, went into the garbage. I took the Brads out, all the notes.
I kept the Brads.
I was like, all my notes, all the notes they were yelling at me to say this slower and all my things, and just in the garbage. I wish I kept those scripts.
It's college.
I paid for my kids' college, second about a motorcycle, something.
Truly, keep everything. I know nothing is on paper anymore. By the way, I just locked eyes with that character
I
there.
did. Who is? I know
We got
that
a
person.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do for
That's
Is that Beaker from the Muppets?
It looks like Beaker. That's what I thought it was.
Is it
Speaker.
It's
Yeah.
It is
But you're related to Beaker. You don't know it.
I just wanted to make sure people knew you were allowed to be here, because I did feel frightened for 1 second. But I think we're fine. Greg, let's jump over to you. So you alluded, or you mentioned a couple minutes ago about Mako, who you took over for. Of course, legendary voiceover actor and actor Michael Uematsu. Yes, please. So I've read a fascinating story about you as a fan of Pacific Overtures had been imitating Mako's voice long before you had the opportunity to step in. So I'm curious about how you, having done that, crafted a voice that felt like a tribute and not sort of an imitation. What was the secret to that?
I think even though, I was desperately trying, usually all you have to go on is the words that the writers give you and the direction the director gives you, But I also had this other third party, who's Mako Iwamatsu, sort of standing behind me the whole way. So when I was actually recording, my whole impetus was just try to sound like Mako. But I do think you can't help but have your own personality creep into it, even though technically I was just trying to voice match him as much as I could. But yeah, there's definitely moments I think where I do, and it's not something I did, on purpose. Not something I think it just slips in, internally. It happens that way. But even today, I will still watch. Specifically, as a rule, I'm very critical of my own work. I think most people are. I don't like listening to myself. But I am very proud of the Zuko forgiveness scene, the I was never angry with you. But every time I watch that scene, to this day, I still go, oh man, I wonder what Mako would have done with this scene. I bet, it would have been different, undoubtedly. And I think that's also, and I think fans know this. I have been a fan of the man since 1977. I have done nothing, I hope very much. I never met him. The internet, believe it or not, is wrong about some things. I actually never met Mako. I look forward to meeting him, not today. But when I do finally get up there and we're sharing tea together at last, he'll say, I hope he says, Greg, I thank you for honoring my life and my legacy. I hope he doesn't say, the executive who hired you at Nickelodeon will be fired. I'm either going to get Iroh or Aku. So I hope I get Iroh from me.
Well, I heard as well that his family came and saw you do some of the recording, and they were pretty moved by the way you
They
captured
did. It was the next to last recording session for Samurai Jack, and I signed in at Cartoon Network, and I noticed someone had signed in ahead of me as Mako, and I thought, well, that's weird, or kind of a sick joke. What's going on with that? And I walked back to the green room, and Gendy Tartakovsky, the creator of the show, said, hey, Greg, come here, there's somebody I want you to meet. This is Mako's daughter and grandson, who is also named Mako. And I'm going, I wish you would have told me this before, give me a heads up, Gendy, because it's one thing to try to impersonate the voice of a beloved actor. It's another thing altogether to try to impersonate the voice of someone's beloved father who's passed away. So I was kind of freaking out, so I hope she doesn't hate it. And Phil Lamar, I could not see her from my perspective in the booth, but Phil Lamar could. And he said the minute I started speaking, his daughter just sort of leaned back in her chair and looked up like this. And after the session, she came up to me immediately and gave me a hug and said, thank you so much. It was like he was in the room again. And I remember thinking at that time, I have received a life I never imagined I would have had because of this man. And it made me feel so good to feel like I'd given this family back just a little something. Because I remember thinking, oh man, even if it's an imperfect impression, what I wouldn't give to hear an imperfect impression of my own father's voice. So it really was. It was a lovely moment, and it was a nice way of them sort of giving me their tacit approval.
That's beautiful. Now, a lot of you have been working video games, voiceovers for video games. For example, Greg, I think you voiced Frank Fontaine in BioShock, one of my favorites. Come on. Dante, you stream on Twitch, I believe, is this right? So we got some gamers here, and what are you playing, if so?
I play one game. I play League of Legends. Yeah, some of us are, I know it's a little toxic to me, but
Just a little.
It's fine. I play Jinx is my main. Ash, Jinx, Ash. We go back and forth. But yeah, I play League of Legends. See you on the ref.
There you go, shots fired again.
I exclusively play deck building roguelikes. I have I have an absurd amount of hours into Slay the Spire and Elatro. Those are my
Elatro.
I am boring. I'm sorry. I didn't grow up with cable or gaming or anything. It was just expensive and screens, and my mom was like, library books outside. That is, which
Never
I guess
heard
makes
of
sense
them.
for
Never
Toph.
heard of them.
But,
Just kidding.
Yeah, so I did have a Game Boy Color, though, if we can recall that. And I did have a Super Mario Brothers game, and I played their children, the crap, there we go, out of that game. And I think I ended up winning or whatever, but I was in the back with the little light and just furiously playing, and that was what I was allowed to have. And then a couple computer games. Do you guys remember, oh gosh,
Oregon Trail.
Oh, that was one, but I didn't play that one
It
a
was
lot. I didn't
dark.
like that one. Did any of you play Pajama Sam? Yes. Okay, so like we're at Carmen San Diego, Pajama Sam, and like was it Putt Putt? Putt. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I did. And then recently, I feel like I didn't get into the games early enough, and now everyone knows everything, and I don't. And so I've played like a couple like Mario Kart or whatever, Mario Party. But
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I don't know all the League of Legends and all this stuff. I
good
did like
games to try
Ego
League of
World of
Legends.
Final Fantasy, which was fun.
Yeah.
So like that was a cute little thing. But yeah, I just feel like I'm so detached now that I'm like, it's too much.
Well, here's the great thing about a FanExpo crowd. No matter what niche game you say you played, someone's going to be like, love it.
Where my Maven Beacon teaches typing.
Yes.
I know you guys love playing Pong, right? Pong?
I'm actually in a new game called Date Everything. So some people we've dated, some people. I'm actually, so there's this new game. Do you know this game?
Yeah, heck yeah. Rowie made it.
I'm the fireplace. and the character's name is Dante.
Of course you are.
The character's name is Dante. I was like, you guys, this is too on the nose.
I need to play
But so I've dated. So some of us have dated. Some of us have dated. You did? I don't know. I'm still. When we were recording, I was like, what? Who am I? They're like, Robbie David's like all these. They did. I'm like, you're the fireplace, bro. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So it's strange. So I'll see. We'll date sometimes, you guys.
Wow, that's cool. I've never seen an offer like that from the FanExpo stage. And yourself, did you ever play BioShock?
You know, I have to admit, I literally, because I grew up in a world without video games.
Sure.
So I don't play a lot of video games. The only game that I have played is, and really it's the only game I play exclusively, is Civilization. I've been playing I love those games. But my kids last Christmas, they were like, Dad, you voice these games and you don't play them. We're going to give you the games that you've never played and you can play them, you know? And the first one I started playing was Fallout 4. And thank you. And the kid said, oh, and by the way, Dad, your character is killable in Fallout 4. And I'm like, well, how do you know? And they're like, well, because every time we see it, we always kill you. So I don't know whether that even says something about me as a father of them as children, but I do know that when I get to my character in Fallout 4, I'm going to kill myself.
A beautiful family story. Thank you for sharing that. We're going to move over to some fan questions that were pre-submitted. This is a juicy one. If you could master one of the 4 elements, water, earth, fire, or air, in real life, which one would you choose?
Our nation. What are we talking about?
Okay.
Fire Nation.
I was preparing myself for a lot juicier, I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous.
It's a softball, yeah.
I'm gonna try to sound very like noble and caring and say that I would pick WATERTRIBE healing.
But secretly,
I think it's so bad.
It's so
but
bad.
I think it's the healer. In Korra, because in the podcast we've gone through it, and when Korra went out and the Fire Nation brought her back, there's Fire Nation healers also. We're not talked about. Lesser known healers in the Avatar verse. Fire Nation healers.
I feel like if I have to pick one, I feel like Earth is like the most helpful because I could build my own home in this economy. That would be necessary, and it's just helpful. Like you could literally move mountains for someone, which is kind of romantic. You know what I mean? So I like Earth is great. Water, yes, is very necessary in healing. It's helpful, but like I'm at that point. I feel like many of us are, and I'm like, will I ever own a home? So I could just build one. So.
I would say I would go with air, but at my age, knee bending is what I can really do. That would come in very handy.
Mic drop.
Really good at wrist bending as well. Really good with the wrist.
Yeah, I've mastered elbow bending. I'm pretty good at that.
Bending. Okay, which biome specifically, which of the 4 nations would you want to live in and why?
Bossing says.
Yeah, Bossing Say.
Bossing Say is great.
Or bossing sled.
I
as
love
like to say.
I love Ember Island. I'm an island kind of guy.
Yeah. You love it.
I mean, I'm just 24/7. I'm a prince, so I have multiple homes.
Are you now? Are you a prince?
Oh, but
Or
Fire Lord.
Remind us? Okay.
We have many homes. The Beifongs have a lot of homes.
I know, we listen.
I don't know about you guys. You have an igloo?
Oh my God, I just want to let you guys cook. You just got your own fire. This is great. Okay, what lesson or philosophy from Avatar The Last Airbender has had the biggest impact on your life? Maybe a message from the show?
I mean, for me, it's the whole show. It's the community. This whole thing. I mean, we talked about earlier about the cultural kind of impact it's had, and it didn't really happen until after COVID. It's a very strange thing. Like, it was popular for its time. It was very important for its time for a certain generation, and then COVID happened, and we all got locked down, and like the world was ending, or that time of the world ended, and then a new world began, and people watched Avatar, and then when the world opened back up again, I was at New York City Comic Con, and it was crazy. It's like hundreds of thousands of people walking around, and we're signing autographs for hours. And then this one guy rolled up, and he was like, "I'm signing this stuff," and he's like, "You know, I gotta thank you because I grew up with you." I'm like, "Yeah, we all grew up together. That's great." He goes, "No, you don't understand." I go, "What?" He goes, "You programmed our generation." And I said, "What?" He goes, you guys programmed our generation. He goes, "Why do you think we're the generation that brought protests back? Black Lives Matter movement, Me Too movement. We're trying to get the world back in balance." That's the lesson of that. It's a community that's so beautiful. And I don't know, it's humbling to be a part of it.
And this coming from the guy who threw his scripts in the trash.
Yeah. I wish I saved those scripts.
That story is really cool. I feel like I'd forgotten about it until we were at San Diego a couple weeks ago and you mentioned it again. I was like, dang, that's just so cool. I actually, if you want to share one of your favorite Iroh lines, that is actually one of my favorite pieces of, I don't know, philosophy from the show. That's one of my favorites.
Which line?
Well, it's technically from Korra.
Korra,
As you say.
Well, Iroh, I mean, Irohism is going to eventually become a religion, I think. It would not surprise me. Well, Memo to me, start religion when I get back. That's a good idea. But there's so much. The line that really resonated with me, and there's so many, but I've been so grateful because I've memorized a lot of them. And although I am not as wise as Iroh, I'm only as wise as an ordinary 64-year-old would be. And if you're not a little wise by 64, you haven't been paying attention. But by memorizing Iroh's wisdom, it has undoubtedly made me wiser and made me a much better human being. And the time it really, really jumped out at me, because this was indeed during COVID, and my wife and I lived in LA for 30 years. Kids were grown. I was born in New Mexico, and we said, you know what, we're gonna move back to New Mexico, have a chiller life. It's close to California, we can come and go when we need to. And everything was great. We sold our house in Burbank. We arrived in New Mexico on March 1st, 2020. 2 weeks later, the world shut down, and I was freaking out. I remember sort of like, I can't watch the news anymore. I gotta go outside and go for a walk. And I went for a walk in this area, my new hometown that I didn't even know. And literally, my inner monologue is going, oh my God, I have a daughter on the West Coast and a son on the East Coast, and there's no toilet paper. We're all gonna die, and this is a terrible thing. And I heard some birds singing, and I very, very clearly heard the line from Korra in my head. If you look for the light, you will often find it. If you look for the dark, that is all you will ever see. And from that point on, during COVID and beyond, that's sort of been my Iroh. Everyone has an Iroh line that they sort of fall back on to get them through tough times. And even today, when I'm having a bad day, that's the line that I get back to. Because, and I love, and it's, on its surface, it's just a very fancy way of saying, hey, you stay positive. But it involves a choice. If you look for the light, you have to want to look for the light. And even though the darkness is sometimes very safe and comfortable, but once you look for the light, you realize, oh my God, we're enveloped by light. The light surrounds us. Even at night, you can look up and you can see the stars. So that's just sort of been one way, certainly a very tangible way in which the show and Uncle Iroh specifically have touched my own life.
Fantastic. Perfect. Chef's kiss. Before we say goodbye to them, can we put our hands together for our fantastic ASL interpreters here? And, come on, 4 class acts. Please put your hands together for Dante Basco, Sena, Greg Baldwin,